Hey guys. Okay, so happy Monday to everybody. Um, had to re-verify to get into everything today. Had to check to see that I wasn't a robot, which I didn't expect. So I was a little late to start here because I was busy clicking fire hydrants and crosswalks, which is always weird. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, that's a thing. So we are here, and it's Monday. So there you go. Happy Monday, everybody. And a glorious Monday it is indeed. Well, I am going to continue working on the deck plans of the Kitty Wake. That's what we've got still on our docket for the day. But tomorrow, I think I'm going to be working on a Springs comic, so that'll be kind of useful, and that'll be fun for all of you guys who like to watch Springs comics be made, because there's a few of you out there like that. I don't know. Let's get started. Let's get cracking. Let's get it cracking. Wait, what? Don't get it cracking. That'd be bad. Also, my camera fell down this morning. It was like very funny because it slowly did it. So I just kind of watched myself kind of go and ooze. It was very weird. Anyway, let's share the correct screen. There we go. Urate. Now, we were working here on the old Kitty Wake and trying to kind of figure out where things were. And we had designed up on the last Friday, we designed up the bridge, which we've already decided is going to be up on top deck, because this is the main deck. So it's going to be here and here. But it still has to have enough room on either side to be able to walk around the bridge. I mean, obviously, you have to be able to get from the back of the ship to the front of the ship. So no matter which way we put it, there's going to have to be a hallway along one side or the other. And the question really is, do we want a hallway on both sides of the starship or not? So like one on either side, which would center the bridge. And that makes some sense. I mean, obviously, you want to center the bridge to some degree. So I think what I will do is, we're looking at this, I think what we're going to do is we're going to set up, and I'm just going to real quickly do a rough outline here. I'm going to have a hallway that goes like this, and a hallway that goes like this from either side. Good morning, Brent. How you doing, my friend? So, putting in hallways, trying to decide what my bridge is looking like here, because we're coming up on that point now where we've got to kind of decide what to do with this design. The most important pieces of this design are making the bridge. For me, it's very important to make the bridge logical. This has got to be a logical ship, right? I mean, can't be illogical, I guess. I mean, I guess it can be illogical, but that's ridiculous. So, okay, so we're extending this out here. This just shows me where this is covering over into this. Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Pinky, are you insane? I think so, Brain. But what are they going to do with all these lederhosen? Okay. Real quickly, my monitor has gotten dirty yet again. The constant problem with these monitors is that they attract dust and they're at an angle. So I have to keep a little like thing to wipe the monitor down, because it just gathers so much dust, and then the dust gets on my nib, and then we've got dusty nibs, and there's nothing worse than that. I think that's like the name of a... Never mind. Anyway, so we've put in these two hallways on either side to the forward of the bridge. The bridge can't go past, say, this line right here, because this is the launch bay back here. And so we want to make sure we keep that launch bay clear so that it doesn't have to... The other problem, of course, is that we'll need to make sure we have some kind of bulkhead back here in case there's a crash from the launch bay. So you really don't want a launch bay crash to... so there's got to be a way to, some kind of reinforced bulkhead or something that takes the hit of the launch, of a launch coming in too hot. So there's going to be some kind of reinforcement there of some sort. So I can put, this is the peak of that upper dome. So my thought is I'm going to put the bridge pretty far forward here. I don't have a lot of room, though. That's the problem. If we look at this, we really just don't have a lot of room up there. I mean, we're about 7 meters. I mean, it's not a big ship, so I'm not expecting amazing things out of it, of course, naturally. We're going to have to decide where this monitor, this forward monitor, goes. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. My feet. That won't help any. Okay. Now we've done this, so what we're going to do next is cut this back. And this is the forward monitor, or it's going to select the wrong thing. Okay. Let me make this fit right here. There we go. There we go. All right. Well, that's good, Cat. I mean, you can lurk. Lurk away, my friend. Lurk. That is just fine. I'm going to merge these down. So now what we've got is hallways into CNC, which will be right up here. And this tells me a little bit of what CNC looks like up here, too. Because I feel like this bridge is going to be long. Longer than it is wide. Which makes some sense. I mean, if we're talking about people laying down in the middle of this thing. So, I mean, we got like up here in the front portion here, you actually could get two people laying down widthwise. That's not small. I mean, that's not as small as I think it is. It's just, that's part of the reason why I've got to kind of, the grid doesn't help me The scaled grid doesn't help me any at all. That's just making me confused. Okay, so this is the peak of that area, and I think I'll go ahead and just make that a good demarcation point, right? So the bridge enters. Good morning, Raph. Good to see you, man. For all of you who are joining me, we are working on, in order to build the 3D set of this, learning lessons from various TV shows. For example, my favorite, beloved Star Trek. There are a lot of weird inconsistencies that after time really started to bother me. In a artistic way. The interior of the shuttlecraft is bigger than the exterior of the shuttlecraft by about a half a foot, or maybe 2 feet. It's something like 2 feet. So the set that they built for the inside of the shuttlecraft is taller than the outside of the shuttlecraft. That sounds like so what difference does that make? Except that you can see when they're entering into the prop of the shuttlecraft, you can see them ducking their head. But then they're inside and they're all standing upright. So little things like that kind of bother me because I like to see what the interior space looks like. This gives me a little bit more idea also. What do I need? What set do I need? Is there a window right here? Is there a window right here? Is there a window up here? Is there windows? Are there windows? Does anybody know? So, obviously on this part of the deck, this is going to be a bulkhead. And this will be an armored bulkhead too. But the truth of the matter is, you think about space travel in general. At the speeds that these guys are traveling at. Well, that's the question. Yeah, the shuttlecraft are secretly a TARDIS, right, Brian? That's the way. Well, and that's actually kind of that's the key question. Does a ship need windows? And that's the one that I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at CIC up here. I know that this particular ship has a specific pilot house, which does need windows, which would be up here on this nose piece. But that's a pilot house, and it would have windows. And if you wrecked your pilot house, you have to try to pilot the ship using cameras. Yeah, except that, most of the time you're looking out at space. Yeah, but what do you do if you have a power failure? I would assume, me being a logical person, I would assume that you would have, manual control over our sea thrusters. So the ship loses power in a dock. Rules. VFR, visual flight rules. It's like IFRs, instrument flight rules. Yeah, transparent aluminum. I would assume that if you had a dock, you're trying to move the ship around. It won't power up. It's whatever, it's borked, but you have a manual control over its RC thrusters. You could go up into the pilot house up here in this forward section and pilot the ship using just thrusters only. So every time we have this discussion, though, I think it was Sam Shepard. Who wasn't Sam Shepard, guys? I've lost it. Shepard. Yes, you have to put the humpback wheels. Tractor beams. Grab the thing. I think the tugs probably just bolt onto it with magnets. Alan Shepard. Thank you. Alan Shepard. Sam Shepard's an actor. Alan Shepard, who looked at the Mercury capsule and said, it needs a porthole. It needs a viewer, or a window. And the engineers said, why do you need a window? You're going to be using radio control and your radar, and you don't need a window. And he's like, we need a window. Right here. We need a window. And because of Alan Shepard, they put a window in the Mercury capsule. And since then, the Gemini capsules had windows. So did the Apollo capsules. Now, the Apollo capsules needed windows so that you could dock with the landers. And the space shuttle needs windows because it's flying back to Earth and needs to land. But why did the Boron have windows? It was remote controlled. And why does the ISS have windows? Yeah, but the right stuff was actually based off of real things. And Alan Shepard really did fight the engineers over a porthole and his. So I think that. Yeah, I think the more I think about this, David's right on this one. It's a sanity issue. I think that there will be windows because it's a sanity issue. But I don't think there will be a lot of them. Well, and you think about it. The ship is going to land on planets, and it's going to be places, so it'll need windows for some reason. It'll need to see out the ship. So we're going to put windows in after all this discussion. I think we're going to call a window here, maybe like a forward portal window there. There are no docking doors up on the top. The docking doors are on the bottom. All the docking doors will be on the bottom because really the truth is you put your dock on the bottom and your landing ramp on the bottom because that way, frankly, they're entering in through the Marines. And if you try to take this ship, you want the Marines first. So I'll do that. Toilets. Yeah. There's actually a bathroom in the bridge. Yay, bathroom in the bridge. And I'll put a window back here. This will be a long window in the shuttle bay. First in, last out. It's the truth. It's the truth. I'm going to put another window portal here. And that way there's no windows directly in line with the CIC. But you can walk out of the bridge and go just stand at this window and stare at space. Or go up here and stare at space, right? The other thing we're going to do is, in fact, you know what would be great up here is just a conference room. That's actually probably what should be here. Is the conference room, or you want to call it because we're going to have those infamous everybody's got to sit around a table and talk moments. So like a tactical threat room or something like that, which would be useful. Everything up here is command. So you're going to want all of that. But this is like 2 rooms worth. It feels like this is huge. Let's take a look at this room. Now, the captain usually has a day cabin. Well, I think it's just got one bridge. One combat bridge. I mean, it just has a bridge. It has a pilot house, but that's it. That's only so that you can... And the pilot house also will have an auxiliary sail control up front. So the sailmaster can go up there and steer the ship from the pilot house if he or she, in this case she, needs to. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the size of this room. Right, 1, 2, 3.5. So that's 7 meters. 7 meters across. That's pretty big. It's a pretty big room. So what I can probably do is, moving these guys out of the way, probably what I'm going to do is, here, line. Otherwise I'm never going to find this thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a day cabin up here for the captain. So she'll have an office up here. Like this. And then so that Brent can not worry. There's a head right there. So we'll go ahead and just space. And I'll make really, this is not the world's largest spacecraft. So we'll make this a public head and everybody can use it. And some poor rating is going to end up with the job of cleaning these heads. And I guess that's just a deal. Or maybe this is the future and things are cleaner now because we've got robots. I don't know. Anyway, we'll have just sort of I'll just write this in here. Okay, so this is like the captain's day cabin over here. Right off this conference room. And this is important because somewhere along the line, we're going to end up with scenes in this room. Right? We're going to end up with scenes in this room. And the question really is, what does this room look like, right? Well, excuse me. If we've got windows on either side here, we know that there's a window right behind her desk, right? Jerk. All right. So we're going to put in this window right here to indicate that there's a window here. This will ultimately dictate the set when I build it. So, there we go. And then we'll put this window here on the other side. Port side window. We'll go through here like this. We're cleaning it all up. All right. Not glorious making these early sets, but you can at least see the process of what's going on here. So, here we go. And this becomes the captain's day room. I assume that the captain's going to be involved in just about everything that's going to happen in here. So, it's not... I doubt seriously that they're ever going to, unless they're trying to, and especially since we are talking about a ship that's only deployed from time to time. So, since it's deployed from time to time, any kind of like disciplinary action that would happen on the CEO of the ship or anything like that would not happen in the conference room. Where they would want to keep her out of the discussion topic. So I think it's fair to think that she can go this way, and maybe she would have a private entrance into the head over here. There's another bathroom under the bridge, so this isn't the only one in the entire ship. It's not like this is the only one. Yeah, if they keel haul her, that could be entertainingly unpleasant. Although, with the Kittiwake, unlike the other ships of this era, the Kittiwake's engines are out here on pontoons. So, it's not like getting keel hauled is going to be would be a big deal behind the kittiwake. You'd just be out drifting behind the ship all the time. That said, it still wouldn't be a pleasant experience, I would assume. Okay, so this is the CO's office, and this is briefing or tactical. I know, right? Much more entertaining to keel haul her behind a heavy cruiser or a light cruiser. All their engines are clustered in the back. So they're not on wings because those ships cannot be atmospherically capable. So that's a much more entertaining way to deal with it. Okay, so I am thinking that through the center section here, right here, is where we're going to put well, I mean, it would be insta-dead if you... I mean, I presume you would be in a spacesuit. They're keel-hauling you. I mean, unless it's that's it, we hate you. You're dead. But then it's kind of like, well, if you're going to do that, you might as well just kill them. It's like the whole point to keel haul is to, make them suffer or whatever. So there's that. Okay. Moving up here. These are going to be large pressure doors. Oh, yeah, that's lovely. Thanks. Right. So these are very large pressure doors. And these doors slide into this wall and bulkhead. Oh, see, now I like that. Or, we saw this in Star Trek where they could raise or lower force fields. My thought is, we're transferring you to another ship, and you stand there at the door, and they open the force field to the other ship, then drop the shield. You've got, as long as you're not more than 30 seconds from the other ship, you're fine. Space barnacles, yeah, that wouldn't go over well. Yeah, the question really is whether you thought the keel hauling was going to be survivable. And I'm not 100% sure that anybody thinks that the keel hauling might have been survivable. So at that point in time, they just walked the plank effectively. Walking the plank would be to stick them in the shuttle bay out here and then just open the door. Right? I mean, it's not like that'd be too difficult. I'm just making sure these windows line up on both sides. Want to make sure that this happens. As I was saying, tomorrow I'm going to work on a comic strip, so we'll get some variety in here. I know that everybody's kind of like, why are you working on these deck plans? Well, deck plans are a critical first step to this whole thing. So there's kind of have to do that. So along here, along there. There we go. And then we will go in here. And we're just putting in windows. This is just to indicate where the portals are on the ship. Did I go way out there? I went the wrong way. Nope. So All right. I assume that is my child's radio going in the other room. I swear I am not trying to add that music to this. My child, I believe, has forgotten that he left his radio on. And so this is a thing. This is the way it works in the world. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this, because, I mean, this is actually a whole lot easier. I don't know why I'm doing it the other way, other than I like to hand draw stuff. But we are doing deck plans, and deck plans probably shouldn't be hand drawn. Okay, moving along to the other side of the landing bay. And we'll go like this. Somewhere along the line, he'll realize his radio's on. Hope so, because I think that was one of those radios that'll stay on until you wake up and never shut off. And it's not even on a radio station. It's just between a radio station. Which is the most irritating thing ever. But I believe he's downstairs, invariably not paying attention to this. Excellent. If you can't hear the music, then I don't have a problem. I can hear the music, but that's okay. So we now know that we have two portals, and one of those windows that's sort of going to be shaped like this. So this is the shape of this back window here. So it's a long window. The good news behind this one is this will likely allow us to have these cool visuals of a camera aimed out here in space through this window as you watch a shuttle or a launch return to be locked into place and strapped down. So I'm of the opinion, I think this ship has exactly one launch, and I don't think it's going to have more than that. I think they're going to move the launch to one side or the other, and you could have the entire crew sit out here and, or support the launch from above. But, I mean, the launch it's not going to be able to, it's just going to sit here in this back bay. So, so that's where we are on this one. So there we go. Anybody know why windows are not square on airplanes? Because it's an interesting story. There was an airplane made in the 50s that was an interesting noise. There was an airplane made in the 50s who had square... That's my camera dying again. Damn it. It's like my camera will not. No matter what you do, my camera is not staying up. It's falling down. It was indeed the Constellation. Good job, dude. Of course, I kind of should have known you would have known that. You seem to be my sort of geek there on that kind of thing. But because of that, space portals need to be... Hang on, guys. I am securing my errant camera over here. Decides to keep just falling. So we're going to be taking a quick break while I fix this problem. There we go. That'll secure that. Get up and turn this off. I'm recording this. Okay. Two more stripes of this. There we go. Put that right through here. There. Now, stop falling. Goofy camera. Okay. Yeah, and it fires depleted uranium slugs. You gotta love the A10. It is a monster of monster proportions. It is totally a monster. I love the A10. Okay. Now that we've built this CO's office, we've got a briefing and tactical room. We're going to head here. I'm going to go in and real quickly put in, first of all, we're going to save. This room is going to have to be machinery or something to help with recovery of the launches. Launches aren't that big of a deal. It's not like we're going to need catapults to launch. It just pretty much just moves out of the deck, moves this way and just slowly leaves. Noticing this is not straight. Oh, man. You know, you'd think that after all these years, I'd learn to use my guides. But apparently that's not a thing. Using guides is apparently not a thing for me. I don't know what my problem is. Okay. There we go. And then we will do this and this. At least I'm on the right layer, he says, checking to make sure he's on the right layer. Okay. Now what we have, if you look here, we'll turn this up so that it's not so confusing. And let's clear out some of these guides because we don't need to see them at this moment. Okay, now we're looking at this forward area. We've got the bridge right here, which meets up on the top. This area back here is most definitely, so this is going to be similar to this guy down here. So similar, in fact, I may just decide to copy this. Right? So we'll copy paste. Yes, my chair creaks, I get it. I was going to fix that and then I didn't. I leave it this way to irritate David. That's why I do it. Okay. So we will do this. We want enough room on this overhang to make this able to get through here. Now we had already looked at that previous version of here, I'm going to bring up that previous version. See, you're irritated. It worked. This previous version of this. Come on. Matrix Rising. Takes forever for it to load. Okay. Now, you remember we did the work on this on Friday to decide what we're looking at for this bridge piece. We've got this center section that's through here, and then we've got two stairwells that go on either side of it. So what I'm going to do is look at that from the design perspective here. I want enough headroom right through here that when you come up the stairs, you don't hit your head on the bulkheads here. So that makes some sense. So we don't want it to be all the way to the wall. This isn't going all the way to the wall there. It's still a large area. But it's not going all the way to the wall. So let's take a look over here. If we come through here like this. So we're kind of looking at the upper part of the stairwell is going to be like right here, right? So it comes along the front. And this is where that upper part of that stairwell will be. And the rest of the stairwell is like through here to some degree. So you're going down the stairs like this and then exiting forward to the bridge through here. So this stairwell ends up being through here, right? And then comes up right there to the landing. And that's how this works. And this, part of the reason you wanted to make this, the reason why I'm going through so much effort to design this is because it's very important to sort of visualize this, but it's also more important that the Guy clock is ticking. Yes, it is. That's what he's talking about. It's funny. Between Brian and David, you guys have more discussions about like my desk and my chair. Okay. So we know the well is coming up like this. We could probably pull it back a little further for this upper area, like to here, maybe. Giving a lot of room in the downstairs area. This is this promenade observatory, whatever you want to call it, upstairs, is really, and then we'll move this back like this, so it's just circular, right? And this promenade area upstairs is designed for tactical and various, whatever. This is the science station, if there was one, because I really don't think that there's going to be a science station. So we're going to take this guy, and we're going to flip him vertically, right? And this will give me the other half of this. Really? This is the way we're going to play? All right. There we go. Now we can merge these two together, and this gives us this promenade piece. I'm only calling it the promenade because you know that military guys would call it promenade at some point in time because it just looks like it. So there'll be a door to the back right here. Back of this little area will end up in this. So my thought really is that you'd enter the bridge and then come up the stairs to go back here into these rooms, whatever that room is, rather than put the lift or anything like that through that entire area. I can't imagine you going straight up to the top. Well, I don't know. Maybe you would. Because, I mean, honestly, the truth is we could have one. There's no reason why it has to be like this. It could be like this, right? And then just around the lift area. Yeah, that's probably better. Then we come through here and do this. And we have the entire thing get a little freaked out for a minute there. There we go. Much better, much better. Yeah, that's probably what we really want. Is that. We'll do this right here. And these little nibs are not real nibs. There we go. Now we're going to take this entire structure that we've built. And first of all, I'm going to fix the lift area here. And this will probably define our lift right here. The question is that centered through the center of that? Probably. Okay. I'll put this inside. Let's make that 10. And poof, we now have a lift. There's probably only one lift in the ship. You guys are just going to have to fight over it, all of you people. There'll probably be stairwells, actually, there'll probably be drift wells. So, thinking a little bit about those stairwells go out into the hallway, don't they? That's an important development we've developed. Hey, why don't you put spiral staircases in? They look nifty, says Guy. Then realizing, they're in the hallway. I don't know. Might not be a bad deal. I mean, it's not the first time that hallways narrow out on a ship. Certainly. So that's certainly not an unheard of thing. So I'm just going to go on ahead and do this. And then I'll do this. And we'll just make that stairwell go out like this, and that'll be fine. Okay. And these stairwells will just exit out into the bridge. So I'll exit out to here, and exit out to here. And now we'll take a look at this understructure here. So this structure is, first of all, it's caved in, concave a little bit like this. Right? Which makes it look like a frog. Look, it's an unhappy frog. But this structure is like this. And this is where the captain's chair is. And things like that. I actually feel like it's slightly narrower like this. So that it gets taller as we head up to the top part of the bridge. Right? So we're going to come around this corner here and then back through here like this. This is the most important set. We're going to see this set a lot. So I want to make sure it looks really nice. I want to make sure I've designed it well. And you guys will be here through this entire process. It's kind of cool, actually. There we go. Now the other thing I'm going to think about here is, like I said, there's a head back here. So, and the door is going to be under here, so that we're going to run a line. We're going to run a lousy line, apparently. We're going to run a line like this. Which goes that way. And then this side isn't going to need to be there at all anymore. And neither is this. This is the upstairs part of the stair, so we don't need to worry about it too here. That's the only part of the stairs that actually involves this floor. So Put this stair right there. Right. Clean that up a little. All right. And then we'll put the door to the head here. This is for all those people who are like, are there ever bathrooms on ships? Yes, there are bathrooms on ships. And this be narrow as well. Because honestly, this whole area up here, I'm not going to really have a problem with it existing on this. So we're pretty good there. Back this up to there. It's not a problem. This is the only part of the stairwell that we have to worry about at that point. This is the only part of the stairwell we have to worry about on this point. You don't need to worry about this at all. Okay. Now we've come out here and we've come out there and... Right? It is the poop deck. Okay. And the truth is, I mean, really, honestly, you can go down the port stairwell or the starboard port stairwell or the starboard stairwell to get here. But most people come down I guess maybe I should put a door on the port side. I'll put a door on the port side. I mean, really, there we go. And just so that I don't know, the sinks will be here. No, actually, this is a water wall. We really don't want that to be. There we go. We really don't want the captain to be sitting there going, flush, captain's log, flush, captain's log. Every time she does the captain's log. And no, I know you're going to make the captain's log jokes. It's all good. There we go. And I'll go later on and clean this up. I just want to get the rough idea of what's going on. Now, my other thought here is, how do you enter and secure the bridge? Now, really, the truth is, you probably wouldn't put a door right here, unlike the Enterprise. I mean, I want to have a station for a Marine or... Yeah, so I think the entry to the bridge is going to have to be after, like back here. That sounds like a thing. So I'll put... It would be the best running gag. So you'll notice something very interesting. There are no lifeboats here. And that's intentional. Because I hate my crew. And I want them all to die. No, that's not why. There are no lifeboats because I figure with 500 years of space travel experience, their uniforms will be space capable. So you could space the just a crew member, and they'd have 45 minutes worth of air in just their uniform. So their uniform would seal, and it would be capable. So I'm not putting in lifeboats. And that's intentional. Now, what I would probably do is, one thing I would do is put a Marine ready room back here. on this side. Everything she's putting in the log. Everything in the log, man. Everything. Okay. And this area here is a marine ready room. Because this is going to be a standard marine station right here. And I think we will make it so that this is an emergency only door. They always go out the starboard side, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that way you've got a marine ready room right there. And this area here, I think, is going to be the entrance to that, to the lift. So this is the lift entrance on this side. Right? You idiot, stop. Stop flushing the toilet. I'm trying to make the captain's log. Okay, see, that joke is just not going to get old. It's just not. Okay. And the lift has 0 entrance into the bathroom. Just saying. Right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit now about CIC and how the CIC works in the forward section. Marine ready room should probably also have an exit here. Because I don't think... I mean, my thought is the Marines, correct me if I'm wrong, resident Marine, Marines would love to have as many exits to get into as many locations as possible. Right? I would presume that in reality, as much fun as we're having here, and everybody, when you read my comic, you are totally going to think this. As you're reading the comic, you're like, I wonder if they're flushing there. Anyway. That wasn't what I wanted to do. We need to go up here real quickly and fix a few critical pieces. So we're going to fix this, right? Because we don't need to worry about that side. And this, because we want to show that you can go down these stairs. Yeah. We're definitely not exactly what I would call the mature bastions of society here. We're all making poop jokes. Just saying. Okay. So there we go. And that's the outer, this is the upper wing. Everything here is open below. This is open below as well. It doesn't have to be, I guess, but it should be because it looks cool, and that's all that's important. Because we could totally have a sniper's nest up here. You know, you walk in the door on the bridge down here, and you're going to get sniped from above. Whap! Anyway, okay. Now we're having way too much fun. Bridge. We're at the forward bridge. That's right. Bridge. So this is a tactical dome. So it actually goes like to here, where it's a dome, forward dome, because you want to be able to get kind of an idea of what's going on. And there's a tactical table that lives up here. I'm kind of trying to decide how I want to do this. I think the best bet would just be take this guy, make a polygon like that, and then hold the shift key and do this. There. Everybody's like, why do you keep using Photoshop for everything? I'm like, I know the program really well, that's all. I don't mean to. Horrible. I know it. Hey. Now what we're going to do is, where did my mouse go? There's my mouse. There we go. So, certainly not the most elegant, but that'll work. Okay, you're being a jerk. So, the midline of the bridge is here, which puts this guy needs to be down just a little bit. There we go. So that's the tactical table, and it comes up from the ground and sits in the decking so that it's not in the way during normal flight ops. But the tactical table can rise up when we're just kind of cruising along existing. That's not that big of a deal. Okay, so doodly-doodly-doodly-doo. That's important, is to go doodly-doodly-doodly-doo. All right. And then we're going to put in 2 stations on either side. I really feel like I don't like this as much. It just got ugly. Okay. It's like this really ugly piece of furniture here. I don't want it to be that ugly. It's all good. There we go. That looks much better now. Okay. Now that we've done that, we're going to round that off so you don't stub your toe. Because you can just see somebody stubbing their toe on this every time they go around the corner. Bam! Ow, that sucks! Captain's chair. And as a sort of interesting thing, chairs are called flight couches in this instance because obviously they're going to need to secure into these chairs and these couches whenever they do any kind of maneuvers that may or may not risk the gravitational integrity of this vessel. I originally had 3 chairs there, but the truth is, down on this floor, I don't see, I mean, other than your XO, I guess you would have an XO, so there would be a second flight couch here for the XO to sit in. And maybe you would have another couch here for the officer on the deck. Odie, in charge of the ship's well-being. So, we'll put these 3 flight couches in. There we go. They look miserable. Okay, let's fix some of these things here. Like, for instance, why does this not work there? There we go. Much better, much better, much better. So this puts CO, XO, and OD. Ood. It's an ood. Alrighty. Next thing we got going on here is I'm going to put in the flight controls stations. So here's one flight control station. And this time I'm not going to do it the same way. I'm going to do it this way. There we go. And then we'll go down here. And selection, transform selection. I need to flip it. Flip it good. There we go. All right. These stations are here. Then this is sail. And this is helm. All right. And that works. And really, it's helm and long-term navigation. But that's okay. Because the truth is, there's not a lot of steering once you get into space. You pretty much plot and then hit go. The steering's all going to happen in the pilot house. If you really need to do that, that's up here in this pilot house. So this is the bridge. The bridge is going to be like that. So through this zone, through here, we've got far more than enough room for this bridge to be here. All right. So I'm going to take this guy and merge him down. I'm going to take this guy and merge him down. There we go. Okay, looking at the side view, let's double check to make sure the width of this bridge is correct. Right? So we've lined it up here. And we know that the dome sort of comes up, really. Apparently, this is what we're going to be doing, so that we can hide the snap here. We can get that out of the way. Okay. We're going to look at the width of the dome, be like this. Right? This is our bridge dome through there. And looking at where the top of or where the front of this, the promenade, for lack of a better term. See, now I'm just going to call it the promenade. Front of that's like right here. And it will dip back to here internally. So we'll make a point here. That's a good question. I mean, you think about where Kira was sitting. Her seat was at one of the stations. I don't feel like the Defiant had a seat for the XO. Okay, we'll move this back like this. There we go. And that's what we want that to look like. And we're just going to open this zone up like that. And then just through here, because I think that's a very valid question as to whether, but I think the Defiant, and the Kittiwake definitely is of Defiant grade sized. She's not this massive, Constitution class vessel. She is definitely in the same weight class as the Defiant, maybe even smaller. All right, so going in here. All right, got this little guy right here, kind of coming around like this. So give it a little bit of perspective there so that it looks like it's all awesome. Yeah, whatever. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, here are the stairwells going down. La Serena? The La Serena, I've seen her class name, but I've forgotten it now. But yeah, that's a very small ship. Definitely of the very small ship vein. So, we've got here's our stairwell going up to the core. Right? Well, clearly it ran on a whole bunch of holograms, too. So it's not like it's a difficult ship to maintain. And she could run clearly by herself on this one. Okay, I'm going to give a definition of how wide this stairwell is on either side, because we really don't want to go further up than this here on the stairwell. And then it's just going to kind of go, nope, it's not going to go like that. It's going to go like this. Right? It's a spiral staircase, so it's going to go like this. There we go. Let's clean that up. This is me stopping and going, wait, where did that spiral staircase exit? It exits forward, which means we got to go the other direction. That's all right. We can go the other direction. Right? So it'll go like this, up, and then back down until it exits. So, okay, let's get these guides out of the way because the snap is driving me crazy. Alrighty, I'll go through here. We'll do this and come up like this. Man, can't win for winning here. All right. Is everybody thinking that I'm just really crazy because I'm going through this kind of detail on my deck plans? I swear I'm not going to go this detailed on everything. I just want to get an idea of what the bridge looks like. But do we feel like I'm just going crazy here? I'm just wondering. I mean, David doesn't get to answer because I know David thinks that I'm crazy. David thought I was crazy from the very get-go, so we're okay there. That's fine. There we go. There. Details are good. See? I knew David would say yes. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad that people are watching this going, well, you're not insane. You're just, well, you might be insane, but that has nothing to do with this. Okay. Now, we know that there's a wall right, there's a walrus right here. Right? And then when we line this up, we'll take my guides that I've been throwing all over the place. And we'll line up the door to the head. There we go. Because this would definitely be something you would see. You are here. There we go. And it'll even say, it says head. Right here is what it says. Okay. So the Marines ready room is after this. So it goes to there. I feel like that would be seen on this deck plan. Right, so here's this Marines ready room. Which, I guess you'd probably see that. Grab the right thread here. There you go. But, you'll look at this and many people will look at this and say, I don't know, they're just a bunch of doors. But I like when they have reason. When there's a reason behind all this stuff. It's not just a bunch of doors. That's a bathroom. You're like, hey, it's the bathroom. It's kind of a thing. Also, we now have the column for the lift, which is going to go through the middle of the decks. So there's that. And we'll be able to now visualize where everything is in space. So here's what the bridge will look like. Let's give that more of a dome. Right? So now we know sideways what the bridge looks like. And the top view what the bridge looks like. And I can build this set now based off of these plans, which is what I will do next. Okay. So here we go. The lift is forward of this section here. You'll actually see the lift on the bridge, whereas you wouldn't see it elsewhere. I'm going to have the hardest time building this structure, I can tell already. That's what's going to be the most difficult to build, is this structure. You can come down here and then come out there. That'd be kind of fun. Gotta admit, if anybody ever buys the rights to this, I'm totally going to just run up and down these stairs on the set. Because that'll totally happen. Somebody will totally buy my story rights. That'll happen. That's right. In my dreams, it happens. Odd these things happen in my dreams. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this console set up here so we know where those consoles are. They're right here. All right. Now you can see where those consoles are. They're lined up, so that's not a problem. Now I'm starting to see stuff here I'm not happy with. That's one of the things I'm starting to see. It's not a good thing. Okay, let's do this. This dome goes all the way back to there and all the way up from here. This is more what it should look like. There we go. Right, that makes sense, right? Because I mean, it'd be right behind the work center. This is a work center. You think about it from like the point of view of and thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. You think of this from the point of view of like a work center, and this is where people work every day. You're going to want to deal with that. And I also feel like the aliens on board here are, they're going to have a completely different anatomy and a completely different way of dealing with things and how they deal with waste gases and things like that, or waste solids or waste liquids might be a completely different environment. So this head might be the only, the bathrooms might be the only place that the humans go where only humans are. Which might really change the way we handle male and female in bathrooms. Because if it's the spot where only humans go, you think about this from the point of view of an alien trying to build the room. And they're like, well, okay, we need this room to be separated, or this is the waste room for the humans. Oh, okay, that's fine. We've built a waste receptacle for the humans. Well, yeah, but we need one separated by gender. Well, we forgot to do that. We're sorry. From the aliens' point of view, that might be like a weird thing to ask. It might be a strange ask. They'd be like, I don't understand why you do that. And so it might have gotten after time to the point where it's mixed gender for bathrooms because people the humans got tired of trying to explain their weirdness to the aliens. Which, that could also be interesting. Yeah, I mean, actually, I really was not fond of Starship Troopers, the movie, but because it wasn't as good as the book. But that part I loved. I loved the fact that they just stopped caring somewhere along the line. I love that. I feel kind of like our views of that are sort of anachronisms. They are anachronisms. That's the word I was looking for. Draw and talk at the same time. Chew gum and talk at the same time. Nah. I just ended up spitting the gum everywhere. I've always felt that was an anachronism. So, I mean, not like I particularly like this, but I mean, you think about our houses. I don't have a boys' bathroom and a girls' bathroom here. We just have a bathroom. I mean, you can expect some privacy. I'm okay with that. But it's just a bathroom here. That's just where it is. It's what we're doing here. Okay. Now that lines up with the dome here, which makes some sense. And the inner line of this dome, right? Good. Cool. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is put in that table. Which this won't be that difficult. Watch me say that, and then it'll be that difficult. Okay, coming in here, because really, this table is only like that. There, table. And when it's actually raised from the deck, because there's not a lot of machinery room here in the deck, so that table can't be that high off there. It can't be that can't be that complex. I think that's what I'm looking for, is complex. So I feel like that's a a complex way of dealing with that. There we go. Okay, so now we have, let's save. Now we have a side view of the bridge. We can see what the bridge looks like from the side, and we look and see what the bridge looks like from the top. And we have 2 decks worth of bridge information on here, which gives us an idea of what that room looks like altogether. Now I'm feeling kind of like this goes further forward than the bridge. So I'm going to go back and just double check this. Actually, I'm not feeling like it. I'm absolutely sure of it. So we're going to copy and we're going to paste. What we're going to do is we're just going to return the favor here, right? We have this part of the bridge, and we'll just match it up like this. Because what we know from this is that the front of this space is going to match the dome, right? So it's going to be the same way on the front as it is down below. So I'm just going to take everything aft of the dome pieces like this and that, and then these pieces here on port and starboard. And now we've defined the front of this section, right? And then I'll just merge that down there. And then this area up here will be part of sensor suite or sensor array or whatever else is on the strong back up there. Because when we look at the ship's design, this forward section goes all the way up here into the front. It's just too narrow and to ultimately put anything there. So this will be a strong back or a sensor suite or something. But the important thing is this will dictate an access door like here, right? There'll be some kind of access door that we're going to want there because you need to get into this space, this forward space. But it's external. It could be cargo. I mean, this could be a cargo spot. Not necessarily cargo, but like a strong back cargo spot. And put that through here like this. And this becomes some kind of strong back cargo spot. Or you can put stuff in. Put all kinds of stuff in it. Right? Right? Because I told you this could happen. And we'll just call this the ship. Captain Falcon's ring. I don't know who Captain Falcon is, so I will take your word for it. But this does mean that I want to dictate a door. There will be a cargo door here. So when I design this, you'll see a cargo door here. Right? So this would be the external cargo door. There we go. Much better. And then up here, this section is a different part. By this point here in the side of the spacecraft, we've gotten down to almost, this is that strong back cargo. So I'll put that up here. And we'll just put containers, because they're always circular. Just things to tell me this is strong back cargo. Right? That gives me an idea, and this area can just be open. There we go. There we go. Forward cargo containers here. And now we've got that strong back cargo up on that upper deck. It's not going to be a problem. And this is the briefing and tactical rooms. Now we know that there's a window right here. So let's line this guy up and line this guy up. We'll put in that window, that portal. And this will tell me a big portal. You know what? I could do it like this, I guess. It's like a picture window on the side of this thing. Alrighty. And then we will do inside work like that. And now we know where that portal is. And when we do the outside of this mesh, we now know where there is a window on that deck. Right? And then we'll do the same thing with these back windows. Right here. This guy is on that deck. And I'm just going to copy this, because copy that, it'll be easier. Right? Yeah, so the thing about this ship is that, you know, she doesn't have a lot of like specific cargo transport. I mean, it's not like it's specifically, this would be foodstuffs and things like that. I mean, it's not like that would be like, it's not like, you know, we're she carries cargo. This is just where she's keeping equipment, or, you know, the food and things like that. So you'd reload up there. But of course, this also means there has to be some forward delivery system up here, or, you know, something going on, because otherwise you're crawling through, what space are we crawling through here? We're crawling through a tactical briefing room to get food, right? That seems weird and ridiculous and kind of strange. So my first thought is that really what's happening is there's a passageway. It'd be right here, like some kind of forward. In fact, that might not be a bad thing to go on ahead and try to figure out. There's some kind of passageway through here that would be a Jeffries tube of some sort, right? I like this. This is good. We're asking questions, important questions here. How do you get to the damn food, right? So here's this forward Jeffries tube right here. And you never know when these things might be important. It's not, I'm not disagreeing with you on the fact that the cargo should be lower. This cargo bay is probably not the most convenient. Anybody who's been on Navy ships knows that they're not convenient. There's no convenience. That's not about convenience. So it's just not convenient. So But, also you talk about spaces where you have interesting stories, right? Right. Space travel isn't a magic black box. You have spaces where stories can go. They tried to do this, I noticed, in Enterprise, where they had the null G spots that Travis wanted to go hang out in because there was null G there. And it was like, or messed up gravity or something like that. And I feel like when you talk about a lot of the story and you talk about the way that a ship is designed, and you have, like you talk about like the classic sort of Star Trek spaceships, even though this is not a classic Star Trek spaceship. This is one of my favorites. I love the Intrepid. You talk about like the way that the thing, I looked at this model and there are windows right here. Are those windows in the floor? Now, I have often wondered these things. Like, do you just walk along the deck and then look down? There's little portholes in the deck lighting. I mean, the same. I mean, at least these guys on the top of the dish or the saucer, on the top of the saucer make some sense. But even with these guys, you've got some windows right here and right here that are just right underneath the Bussard collector. So, like, are these bedrooms? And if so, do you just sleep at night with the pulsating red light of the Bussard collector just flooding your room? I mean, I presume that this section of the nacelle is the dangerous section of the nacelle, and this is not the dangerous section, and we're not just nuking everybody who lives in these parts of the saucer. Sorry, dude. You're just going to get nuked. It's like, suck. But one of the reasons why I design as much as I do and put so much work into this design is not only does it give us interesting ideas of what the space looks like, but it's logical. Like, where are the windows? Seinfeld. Yeah. Where are the windows? Where are the windows on these ships? But it also gives me a real space. There's a Jeffries tube now here. And this Jeffries tube goes to a space before a bulkhead door to a cargo room. I mean, nobody's going to need this space 90% of the time. So if you're an introvert and you don't want to be found, now I have a space for you in the story. Yes, you're an introvert. If ever there was an introvert, it's you little cat pest. So that's something to think about, right? Right, it does. And it makes it make sense. Like, there's a logical space behind this now. So this Jeffries tube, we'll go ahead and make sure it's part of the actual deck plans up here. But it's just going to pass through, right? It's a pass through. That's all this is this pass through. Forward Jeffries tube. And I often wonder, I know Trekkies are Trekkies, right? So there's that forward Jeffries tube. It's right there. And then that makes this space up here just a little bit interesting. Because it's not the cargo bay. It's just a little platform. Right? Really what it would be is, we'll just copy this forward piece here. And that way I don't have to worry about this. Well, it's true. I think that lives under to thine own self be true. I'm spending a little extra time on this, but I've been talking about how long this comic's going to run. And I'm running 9 Tankobon, or at least that's the theory at this point in time. And 9 Tankobon is that's going to be. Now see, that's a bad idea for that space, isn't it? Now, this is why you check these things. You're climbing up here and then you're stuck. I can't get over there. So we need to line it up more. I should have started up here. Well, you learn. Live, learn. That kind of stuff. So let's do this. Let's go backwards and find where this should sit on that spot. There we go. And then we'll take this guy and move him back instead of going the other way. Yeah, in a fantasy setting, it's still, you have to be internally consistent. If your hobbits are super fighters, and then all of a sudden, the next story, they're being attacked by rabbits, you're like, but didn't they just defeat orcs in the last one? I mean, so even a fantasy setting needs to have consistency. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I absolutely agree. Now, the only way to tell where this is going to be to put a marker to indicate where the center is all the time. So we'll do that, and then we'll take this guy and move him down. Thanks. I don't think that's the center of this deck. I think that's the center of this deck. There we go. Move that up there. There. It also allows us to see the space. Where is this space? Right? See you later, man. Roger that. I'll see you on Twitch. Okay. Now I have 2 Jeffrey's tubes, and I'm going to remove this one. Now that goes up through that space and bypasses this forward briefing room. This also gives us some other things. Like, you ever have a story where, we want to, I don't know, somebody's holding somebody in the briefing room, right? Now my Marines might decide to cut a hole in the bulkhead right there. Or blow a hole in the bulkhead. Or something. I mean, this is not a spot that you would think you'd have somebody at. So definitely something to think about. The only other problem I've got is this now lives in the bottom deck, right? Now we've defined where the bottom deck is. We're going to have to see this in the bottom deck as well, which is above, because I haven't fixed it yet. That's all right, though. So on this deck, now we have the same critter there. And that's where that's going to come out. In whatever room that is. So we'll need to figure that out when we get to the bottom deck. The bottom deck's probably going to be later on. I don't need to get into all the detail on all of these decks at the moment. I just need the bridge, because we can't go to the next step without that bridge. But I wanted to make sure that I had a lot of things going on here Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and call that there, like that. Why isn't this on? There we go. So now we've done this, and we know these are our... So this Jeffries tube now does what it's supposed to do. It goes down into this deck somewhere. It's probably just a ladder at this point in time, but whatever room is here is probably a galley. I would be willing to bet that that's where our galley is going to be, right? I mean, we talk about like the space on this deck. This is the main, effectively, the main deck through this center section here. So I'm going to put like the galley is here on the forward. This would be where the rooms are, like where you live. There's no engine room on this deck because the engine rooms are actually down this hallway and the other hallway on the other side. So we know that there's no engine room on that deck. And that's not a problem. So I'm actually going to say that this deck ends here. We'll just call that end. Okay. So there's actually more spaces in this ship than I thought there was going to be. I wasn't 100% sure we had enough room in here, and I was wondering whether we were going to have to scale the ship up a little bit more. One of the things I really wanted to do was look at and get an idea of what was going on with this. Now, I also feel like this is flight ops back here, and that's going to definitely be this back room. It's flight ops. Really? There we go. Let's do that. And I can call this flight ops and we'll be good. The thing about flight ops is this can also be, and I'm not against this idea, this can be a control room for fighters. If there are fighters in the area, you can have flight ops up here too. So one of the things we might do with this is go on ahead and define in windows back here, portals for flight ops, because they would want to see out for when you have fighters. Oh, hey, look at that. You suck. All right. Right? So there'd be portals to the after section of this side for flight ops. And put in portals this way. Because you could theoretically use one of these ships to be a forward observatory in the battlefield. And if that becomes the case, then flight ops is more than just this one launch. Right? It's more than their one shuttle. It's going to be all the fighters in the area. So, given the fact that I've got more room now in the ship, I'm thinking I'm going to go on ahead and make this have a little bit more of a flight ops design. So, the other thing we're going to do is this. Right. There we go. What are you doing? Well, we're going to make it so that they've got a little bit of an overlap where they can look out onto the flight bay. I mean, I don't think there'd be a real call for hanger operations to be super complicated, but just in case, I'm going to give them a visual window area to see down on. So that when you're in flight ops, there's some of an angle looking down onto the flight deck. So that'll be fine. Like I said, this isn't a real complicated space, so that ended up being on top of that. Nope, it ended up being back here. Okay, good. And I will just do the same thing I did before. I'll take you, and I will copy you and paste you. And I will move the wrong thing. You're on the wrong layer. You have to stop. Flight Ops now is going to have a window. So that defines. So this is what's cool about this is now that we've done this, when I make my model, there will be a window here, and a window there. And when you look at the model, you'll be able to say, hey, that's the window by Flight Ops. Cool. I mean, like, you'll know what that window means, right? There'll be a window up there on that upper deck. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. There's no windows in the bridge, but there's definitely a window here for the briefing room in the CO's office. And there's 2 windows back here. This is just a hallway, and this is the Flight Ops window. Now, there will be these huge windows, which we have not put in. Back here. And I like to do this because now, I mean, the reality is that I would spend forever going, what should be here? Just windows? Should I just add some windows? I don't know. Should I add some extra windows? I don't know. And I just throw windows on there. Maybe some doors. Maybe nothing else. I don't know. And I'd be, your Uncle Ron makes 3D models, huh? Yeah, that's kind of cool. That's a nifty thing. I have a very rough model that this is based off of. I don't know if you've been seeing her, but there's a model. I built this in Blender, and this is a very rough model. So, I mean, if your Uncle Ron wants to make a much more complex, more detailed, with all the little doors and windows and things like that, that's perfectly acceptable. This is going to be mapped with a map that's going to be pretty straight up. It's not going to be. He creates and sells. Oh man, really? Because that's awesome. Can I have some? Just the way it goes in my world. Wait, tiny spaceships. Tiny spaceships are the best. Okay, guys. I only have a handful of minutes left, and then I'm actually going to have to run right away. So, thank you for joining me, though. Yeah, actually, Andrew, if you want to get me in touch with your uncle, we can talk about it. That'd be fine. I would love to see what people would come up with for this. We're going to have to get down onto this main deck at some point in time down here and figure out what it's doing. First, I'll sit over here and say, hey, let's save. So that's kind of cool. Other than that, I really appreciate you guys being here today. I'm going to leave just a few minutes early just so I can go downstairs and get my car out and head out. I've got to be back here by 12:30, so I want to make sure that I'm not late. So we're gonna move right away. But I appreciate everybody joining me. today on this. This is day 2 of doing this. So we're about 4 hours into deck plans. Yeah, it was fun having you guys here too. I really love that you guys are interested in spaceship design. It's one of those things. Work is work, my good man. Work is work. I've kind of aimed a couple of things at you over the time, but that's all right. It's all good. You do you. You have to do your work. I'm okay with that. That's not a problem at all. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, same time, and I will. As always, I'm glad to have you guys here. Thank you. I need this one, not that one. And then see you tomorrow.